Here we go. Welcome, welcome, welcome. It is so good to see you. I will probably be admitting people for a little bit, depending on, when people come in. I will just do my best to stay present. I just love having you here. Let me just change my view back to gallery so I can see all of your beautiful faces. And I want to invite you to turn your camera on. If you're eating, I just want to see faces, Nobody cares if we're not perfect, I probably have something in my teeth. Hi guys, it's so good to see you. Confirm your speaking language, says Zoom. Estonian. No, it's not Estonian, even though my accent might be funny. It's English. All right. It's so good to see you. It's so good to see familiar faces. It's so good to see new faces. Oh, someone's in Estonia. That's maybe why. Please say hi in the chat. Tell us where you're tuning in from. And especially, we already know that you're in Estonia, Kai, but everyone else, where are you coming from? It's always so lovely. And let's also, oh, Milwaukee, Wisconsin, Italy, Montreal, Sweden, California. Me too. I'm in the Bay Area. Where are you, Cassie? Belgium, Phoenix, Arizona. Cass, yeah, it's okay if you have to leave early. I'm recording this. I think I am. One time I didn't hit. So I researched before because usually in the past I've streamed these into the Facebook group, but somehow it didn't give me that option today. So I'm just going to upload it to YouTube and just post a link. Then you guys can even watch it in the car, and it's even easier. Napa, how fun! You're right around the corner. I'm in San Rafael. Hi. Feeling you close by. That is so fun. I lived in the Bay Area for years. Look at that. Montana, Oregon. I was just in Oregon in Ashland. It's so peaceful. Vancouver Island, Canada. How amazing is this? Oh, thank you guys for being here live. I know a lot of people RSVP to these kind of events, and that's wonderful as well. And then not everyone can make it live. Sometimes people RSVP because they have the intention of being there, which is lovely, and energetically then they can be. So whatever it is, it's all good. I just want to support you guys, and here's just a little bit of a frame for this, because on my journey of having my own coaching business for the last 6 years. And I would like to invite you to reflect on this as well, because this is literally everything when we have a business, right? When I started, and before I even ever had my own business, for a long time, I had this thing like, I want to be a coach. And I asked some people, like, what does it mean to be a coach? Like, where did you do your coaching certification? I just wanted to be a coach. I knew that. And she's like, well, there's many different ways of coaching you can do. There's many different coaches you can be. I was like, oh, I didn't think about that. I just wanted to help people, and that was my big drive. And how it started was with gut health coaching in 2018, because I had gone through such a major healing journey with my own gut. And my little baby son at the time, who's now 11, he had to I had to help him. So I had a lot of knowledge. And then I did a formal training on becoming a gut health coach. And I continued to, educate myself further and all that stuff. But my drive behind all of this was because I wanted to help people. And then over time, and maybe you resonate with this, over time, I realized that I'm good. And especially as a projector, we can be good at things, at many things so fast. And then it ends up not always being the thing that we're meant to help people with, right? Because then when I actually took people on the gut health journey, and I had programs going and I needed to be on them. And I have head and ajna defined, no body centers, no motors, no will center, right? So keeping people accountable and telling them what to do. And then they're like, oh, and I ate challah bread because it was a Jewish holiday. It's like, but you can't eat gluten, right? And it's like, and then they were wondering why they had a big flare up again or weren't seeing results. And I'm like, oh my God, like, and then just the thought of inviting people into the next round of the program and having to tell them, oh, did you take these supplements? Did you take those? You know, did you eat gluten? Have you had challah bread again, right? And challah is delicious, right? But that's not the point. But it was over time like, okay, I realized that telling, like staying on top of people like that with their nutrition and their diets and stuff, I could do that for myself. I could do that for my family. I had the background knowledge. I had a lot of, and I learn things so fast. I get excellent at things so fast. I'm grateful. You know, I don't know what it is, but when I'm passionate for something, it just goes in fast. But those are not all the things I'm meant to help people with. And that can get really confusing, right? Because I have so many gifts, especially as a projector, you know, you probably know exactly what I'm talking about. So over time, this desire to help people just kept staying and it kept morphing into other things, right? And then now I've got 6 years of having my own coaching business under my belt. I've done gut health coaching, I've done emotional release techniques, I've done deconditioning, human design general, but then it caught on more. And I really liked and understood deeply manifestors as well, but it never like took hold. Projectors, as soon as I started talking about projectors, it was always like, and this is what you can look out for, especially as a projector as well, like what, when you put it out, what gets the most resonance in the external world, but also what gets the most resonance within you. And so over time, and I was a little bit more hesitant about this, but I kind of found this out last year when I was working with one of my mentors. I'm like, I just want to help projectors get rich, you know, but then it's so, it has so much stigma, you know, money. And I feel like now that I've gotten to know more my true sidereal or my true sky astro chart as well, it's in there, you know. I'm supposed to help people with abundance and wealth creation. And I shied away from that for a long time because we never think we're, you know, quite there yet ourselves. So that's like, oh my God, am I a fraud if I'm not a millionaire and I talk about this? But that's not the point, right? It's just like the level of embodiment and the honesty about it. But also, you know, being a 6 line, and some of you might be familiar with the chart changes in 2027. And then, you know, as a projector, wherever you have a 6 line in your chart, not just in your main profile in the top 4 gates, right, left and right too, but also anywhere in your chart where you have a 6 line, that's the piece where you're meant to help with in that big chart change in 2027. And we projectors, we're not special, right? We tend to think like, oh, we're the big guys and we got all the cool stuff going on. And yes, you know, maybe that's true, but also I always caution from like that human design elitist thinking, because it really doesn't do us any good. It isn't good for our aura and our energy when we think, oh, I'm better because I'm a projector. But in that role of 2027 chart change, we do have a responsibility of helping. And I just took some notes because I was listening to something before this call. We need to change who's in charge of the financial resources in the world. It's just a fact, you know, and so that it can be redistributed to the people who are spiritual, to the people who do good things, who reinvested in the things that are going to build a world of empowerment and health and, you know, wealth and healing, so that wealth isn't just like sitting in pockets. And that's why there's also no fraud around me doing this while I'm not a millionaire yet, right? But because everyone is meant to have their own pocket, their own package, right? And your soul has, and this is so hard in the internet sometimes, right? Because we see everyone is on Bali and living the life, working from a hammock, and I'm sitting here like I haven't like dust wiped my windowsill, and my cleaning lady has her leg in a cast, so I'm like vacuuming myself, and there's a mess on the side here. I haven't unpacked 3 boxes yet, right? And then meanwhile, like all the other people, and you see them, they're like, there's nothing that special about them, but they've got the glam life. They're living on Bali. They got this going on, like, and then it can make us feel like, oh, we want that, right? But it's not our soul package, right? Our soul package is maybe not living on Bali. Who knows? Maybe it is, right? But whatever that package is for you, it's right above you, right? And that's right above me. And when we can access that level of wealth, and when we can desire for that instead of what somebody else has, but it's so hard not to have FOMO with the internet, right? And seeing like, oh my God, that person has this and I want that, and they're doing it this way, and maybe I should have it that way as well. So with that all just being said, having a solid desire to help, whatever your big thing is, and then the desire to just unpack what your soul has in line for you, and that's your most amazing life, right? Sometimes I think like, oh, what fun it would be to just hire or rent a van and travel across Australia for 6 months, right? But that's not my soul package, because I have 3 kids and some of them young, and I'm not going anywhere anytime soon, especially not to travel around Australia, even though that might sound like fun, but it could still give me FOMO, right? But so the constant reset, like my guinea pig right behind me, my kids guinea pig that they never clean the cage off, obviously. So unpacking your own soul package here, right? So that is the thing. And with that all being said, I would just like to begin officially this session with offering you and us all, for this container and for everyone who wants to watch this on replay, a prayer to really hold in your heart. And you're welcome to take notes of this or make your own version of this, but just so that we approach wealth and money from the right energy, because this is what it's all about, especially as a projector and with our role in this wealth redistribution principle particle that we have in 2027 chart change, that we really go at it from a clean energy and a clean heart so that it can come to us. So the prayer, and you're welcome to also just close your eyes for a moment and receive this into your heart. And then I can say it again. So if you want to say notes, but just I want you to feel this. Dear Creator, I am asking for the unlimited blessings that are waiting to reveal themselves in my life, including abundance and prosperity. Just let that resonate in your body for a moment and really feel into what that means for you. And then if you wanna write it down, you can always come back to this. Let me actually make this easy for everyone. I'm typing it in the comments for you. Dear Creator, I am and you can still write it down. I'm asking for the unlimited. I take a lot of handwritten notes, so that's why I'm copy pasting sometimes, but I work a lot that way, that are waiting for me to, no, waiting to, because then you're making it so clear to the creator that you just want what's already yours, right? And not what somebody else's. And you're including abundance and prosperity. Prosperity. Here you go. There you guys go. Okay. So there we go. So with that being said, there we go. This is it. Now we can end the call. Just kidding. But that's kind of like, that's I just wanted to give you this frame and this setup so that you know, this is not about getting rich fast or scheming to make money, right? This is about the true soul desire to create wealth so that we can be the best versions of ourselves to serve the world, right? To help. And this is what I'm here for, right? And so with that being said, you're welcome to raise your hand if you would like to be coached, if you like to be first. You can also pop it in the chat. I'm feeling somebody is just on the edge of saying that's me. I might say that they're already revealing themselves, so future becomes present. Yeah, and you're welcome to, and they always are revealing themselves, right? So thank you for adding that. So you can reword that however it feels most resonant to you and most empowering. And it's your special connection with the creator. So Dina says, me. Let's start with Dina then. And we will see how many we fit in about our 90 minutes kind of time frame together and how we feel. And yeah, and then we'll go from there.
Amazing. Hello. Can you hear me?
Yes. Hold on.
Is the sound okay?
Let me put gallery view. So yes, I can hear you. Okay.
Amazing. Yeah, I was just like walking back from the beach and I was like, oh, I hope I catch this. I hope I catch this. So this is amazing. Yeah, hey, I'm Dina. I'm a 5/1 projector and lately I suppose my biggest challenge has been packaging my offer suite and making sure that like my message is coming across without being too I suppose like pedantic or too like how do I say this? There's a bit of a fear that not everyone is gonna get it, specifically because I'm a Gene Keys uh, mentor. So that's one thing. And the other thing is I keep getting a lot of clients actually, and a lot of people like in my DMs and so on. But it's like they'll get back to me and be like, oh, like I'll get back to you in a week. And this is amazing, and I'm so in, and like I'm not sure whether as a projector I'm supposed to be following up or whether I should wait for the invitation in situations like this as well. So like, yeah, there's these two things right now that are kind of like freezing me up in my tracks.
Okay.
My
So,
projector realm.
yeah, perfect. Thank you for asking this. A very good question. So for projectors, whatever we're doing, the actions we take, they have to have the energetic background, right? So I would like to explore with you a little bit more. What is it for you that how are you feeling behind those actions is actually more what's important, because then when we have that solid, then any activity you pop on top, yes, we need business skills, yes, we need messaging skills, right? Yes, we need skills of how to talk to people in sales conversations, whether we reach out or they reach out, right? So those are the business skills on the front end, but that's like a smaller percentage. So what is on the back end here? So how do you feel when you talk about this stuff?
Um at first, like I was so enthusiastic and I was so like, yes, this is an aligned client. This is amazing. It makes perfect sense as to why they reached out and why they need me at the moment. But like when they mentioned that like they'll get back to me because um they're trying to sort out their finances because they're in debt, I sort of like panicked.
Mm-hmm.
And on the inside, I had this feeling of like, I have to admit, like a bit of like desperation, like, oh, I don't want that client to go away. You know, it's just, they're just so aligned. I want to make sure that, you know, I lock this in and stuff, but I held myself back, because they were like, "Oh, we'll get back to you and we'll let you know." And like, before deconditioning, I would have probably just been like, oh, like I'll take down my prices, or I'll like, you know, accommodate with a different package or so on, and so on. But right now I'm like really trying to hold steady in this, knowing that what is right for me is the thing that is going to stick.
What
So I was in two emotions. Like there were two sides like battling each other.
So which side would you have rather stayed in?
Uh Confident, knowing, um abundant.
Mm-hmm.
Um but I mean, I suppose that ties back to my first question that I was saying, where like I'm like, well, but I need to mm, explain to people what this is like they don't get it yet, you know? There's this sense of like wanting to explain myself more because people still don't understand what I do, especially that I'm in Egypt right now. Like it's a very, very different landscape to Australia, for example, which is like my other side.
Mm-hmm.
Um, so like I'm dealing with two different uh like cultural backgrounds.
Wow. This is very rich, and thank you for actually adding the energy of magical Egypt to our call here. I think that just adds
Sorry.
a whole another level of sphinx and pyramids and temples, right?
You're welcome. Amazing. No, here's the ocean. I'm by the ocean.
Oh my
The temple.
goodness, that is so pretty. Well, thank you.
It's really,
So
thank you.
there's a lot of good stuff that you said there. So let me just look into these, then we can hone in a little bit more, right? So
Sure.
you're saying at first I'm enthusiastic, right? So that is great, because as an entrepreneur, as a business owner, right, your enthusiasm for your business coupled with that deep desire to want to help people, right? And if you're a Gene Keys mentor, I think we can already like take out of the question that you don't want to help people, because Gene Keys is all about like, let's help transform the world. Why are you not getting this, right? This is so good. You need to do this. So
Totally.
the enthusiasm and the wanting to help, right? But then,
Yeah.
so like you said, there's two energies, two emotions battling inside of us. And that's the case at all times, right? So a lot of you, I don't know, do we have any Germans on the call? I always mention this, right? In Germany, we have this song from the 90s by a German famous rap band called Fettes Brot. They're singing about angel left, devil right. They're always chatting in our ears, right? And then it's like, who do I actually listen to? So that is happening at all times. And the more advanced you get, the more advanced your little devil is getting too. It's like he will charm you. He will tell you how amazing you are, he will tell you that you're great at the comfort zone. So in
Yeah.
the beginning, it's more like he can make us, or I don't know if our little devil has a gender, but he will make us feel more like intense negative emotions, but over time, but those two sides, they're always present. So I just want you all to be okay with that. It's like, okay, we're never going to be healed because we're all
Yeah.
50-50. We're good. We have a bad side. We could go either way at any moment of the day, right? If somebody pushes our triggers the wrong way and we haven't learned how to hold that trigger yet, we can easily all go to like snapping at our kids or saying mean things to our partners, or whatever we want to do, or honk somebody in the traffic and give them the middle finger, right? Even those might be more gentle things and we're not killing anyone, but it's still, that's an expression of our inner little devil. So just that as a preface to, which voice am I listening to inside, right? And then you're saying the desperation, right? When they mention they're in debt, then you're feeling the desperation. I don't want them to go away, right? So
Yeah.
the key here is you don't want them to go away. And when you're coming at this from a selfish reason, because you want the money, then they will go away, right? When you come at this from you don't want them to go away because you know that your product will help them like crazy, help them get what they want, then you will talk to them in a way where they understand that, right? Where you don't need any convincing, where you don't need to, what did you say, explain yourself more. And so the clarity on how, and this is for all of us, right? All of you guys who have their own business and deal with marketing and messaging, the clarity of how does your product, how does your service make your life, your client's life better? When you root yourself in that, then there is no like that little inner opponent can't get in. Like it'll try, it's like knock, 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 but you're like, no, I know. And sometimes what helps me is like I'm envisioning it. I don't have it here yet because I just moved into a new home, but I have like on my desk always things that I need to remind myself of, right? Whether that's a prayer or whether that's a like when I'm launching a program, like my notes around that program and the outcomes and the results for my clients are always very close, either in my phone, on my notes, or in like notes written on my desk. Not on the desk, but on papers on the desk. I always keep it clear so that when that little voice comes up, I'm like, no, what can I ground back into is that knowing that this service or this product or this program helps with that outcome, right? So when people go away, and you can be sure that you have spoken to them and told them, my product can really help you with this. And you feel that from your heart and you don't come from that desperation because, all these with our projector fine-tuned aura, where we poke into people so deeply, like the last thing that's beneficial to anyone, including ourselves, is when our aura is weakened or a little like dirtied, because then that arrow gets really repelling, right? It's more like it's shooting people away instead of going gently into them and being able to help them. So how does that resonate so far?
It resonates so deeply. This entire time, like this whole day, actually, I've just been so happy you're saying this because I've just been thinking about like where am I coming from? I haven't texted back. I haven't, sent that like follow through because I was like sitting with myself and going like, how do I work through this energy? Like I quit coffee, which I know is a very small decision, but like small things like that, I've been like adding or like actually eliminating and subtracting things from my day so that I can feel the sensitivity of my body and like really, really tune into my intentionality, as you said. I suppose the only thing I would say in this moment is that there are certain nuances, I suppose, that have to do with being a projector that when they come, that's when I get thrown off. So for example, I put like a little note at the bottom of my offer PDF saying 15% discount for you if you refer a friend. and this client referred a friend. So I actually, they did, but they still haven't gotten back to me. So I wanted to, send a text to them and say, hey, like, your friend, like, she's a client now. Thank you so much, and so on. But like, I'm also scared to do that because of the waiting for the invitation thing. Do you see what I'm saying? Like the whole waiting, like in these moments, that's when I like feel like something just
Yes, I understand.
like push me to the side, and I'm like, oh, but I know my intentions are good. What do I do in that situation? You know what I mean?
So does this waiting for the invitation thing feel empowering to you or disempowering?
Oh my God, that's a great question. I've never thought of it that way. Uh, Honestly, no, like up until now, it's felt disempowering because I'm so sick of waiting. I'm tired of it. I look at many gens and I'm like, you're so lucky, especially that I do many things. I'm a film director, I'm a designer, and I'm a Gene Keys mentor. Like, I want to be able to operate at that level, but over the years, I've learned to honor it. But that waiting part, no, I don't think I haven't reframed it as an empowering thing. No.
And waiting for the invitation doesn't have to be a literal waiting either, right? It's more like the waiting to guide them. It literally just means you can only guide them if they recognize you for the right thing and invite you to do so, right? But you don't have to wait for, I mean, there's always such a thing as divine timing, and especially if you've quit caffeine now, which I have too, even matcha, but that was so delicious. But
Me too. It was hard.
yeah, I know exactly what you mean, because it gives us that fine tuning more of like feeling into something.
Yeah.
So, what would feel empowering to you to say to her, like if she was someone you really cared about, that, like leave aside the money part out of your mind for a moment. Just what would you say to her if you really wanted her to join to get the result, or to just remind her, remember there's like that 15% discount is waiting for you? If what would feel really natural and good to your heart to say to her?
Wow. Like this is when a projector asked another question, like to another projector, and you're like, this is the effect. I would be like, hey, I hope all is well. I just wanted to say thank you so much for the recommendation. Your friend reached out, and we're starting, our session together next week. I'd love to offer you this this discount. And I've been having a think about what you were saying last time. I have a feeling that it would be helpful to jump on a call face to face rather than like on the phone, to talk about this a little bit more, because it was just a phone call. Like there was no like more of a human connection. Yeah, so that's what's coming to my mind right now.
And how does that feel in your body?
No, it's good. It's like a friend,
Yeah.
that's guiding, not like a authoritarian mentor, I suppose. Yeah. Which also makes me think that my language in my proposal, my voice needs to also be a little bit more like that.
Yeah, and if that feels natural and right to you, then go for it, right? Because I feel like sometimes people try to have this authoritarian voice in their messaging when they're not that person yet, right? We can't all speak like Tony Robbins yet, because we're not Tony
Yeah,
Robbins yet. So
yeah.
and what a person truly feels from you. So here's the little recipe, right? Detach from the outcome for yourself, take yourself out of the equation completely, right? Like if she buys or she doesn't buy, but settle into that position of caring for her, like you really want to help her, right? And if she's open to speaking from that energy, she's going to feel that from you, right? And then getting paid is what happens naturally if you, and sometimes it might work right away. Maybe she's not the right person, but try it again with another person. Approach from that angle, right? Truly caring for people and taking yourself and your interests out of the equation. That doesn't mean you don't get taken care of, because the more you do this, the more you'll get taken care of. But because you
Wow.
take any selfish desires, right? You're purely going in from, let me
Money.
help you. Like we're doing, like, and if it's not the right thing, I'm completely detached. But I just wanted to get on a phone call with you to see if this would be really helpful for you. And she will feel that care, and then you won't feel that desperation. You won't feel that fear, because you're outsmarting your inner little devil, your inner little opponent, because he can't, like, when you align yourself with that frequency of your soul, that inner yap yap, you'll be like, yeah, you can try to yap yap, but you can't get anywhere. So that's, if I was your doctor, that's what I would recommend. How does that feel?
It feels amazing. Like just so simple and like gems, really. I can't thank you enough. Like, yeah, thank you
So
so much. Just genius.
you're so welcome. And if you feel inspired, let us know how it goes when you apply this more in the group, and tag me so I don't miss it.
Absolutely, I will. Like, it's gonna show up even if my profile is private. It's gonna show up in the group, right?
If your profile is private, I think so, yeah, as a post, yeah.
Okay, yeah, amazing.
Thank
Thank
you.
you so much.
You're welcome. All right. Let me see. What do we have in the chat? Dina said, so we just did Dina. Alicia, do you want to be next?
Sure. You already answered so many of my questions, though. I'm a 5/1 emotional projector and just learning of human design. Last month there was a conscious business accelerator course that I took, and we had a group. And so right now, like yesterday, I had read so many things that are contradictory, like we're not supposed to initiate businesses and we're not supposed to market and advertise and just so many different things. So the day before yesterday, I just really got into my own authority and how I feel about things. And I went to look at a building, and actually one of the gentlemen that I called about a building, he's like, "Oh, I have someone else that's doing the same exact thing as you. I'm gonna have her call you." And we talked, and she invited me to her space to look at what she's doing. And it just seemed like okay, I'm initiating what I want to do, but these things are being brought to me, and I'll see how I feel with the invitation that she's giving me. Um but that is such a key word to me now, is my emotional authority and how I'm feeling about things. And like yesterday I was really excited that I was meeting her, and then today I'm like, okay, but we'll see, how this goes, because I want to be my own boss. I want to do my own thing and attract my own clients, and that might not necessarily be the same type of clients that she wants to attract, or the same type of, vision that she has. So being able to stick with my vision and saying, I'm glad that you're in that spot, but that's not my vision, will be really good. So you guys talked about the marketing and advertising, so I can still put myself out there as far as my class goes and my retreats go, but I'm not initiating with certain people unless they invite me to initiate with them, unless they invite me to coach them or invite me to interact with them.
Exactly. So guiding someone to their results
Mm-hmm.
or guiding people in your personal life with your advice, oftentimes that's why it's also for other types. Here's the thing, guys. First of all, when Ra first, and I'm not a big like Ra super follower, right? But I honor what he brought and his creativity and the connection and the download. So when Ra first downloaded human design, there were no types. Right? Let that sink in for a moment. There were no types. And then over time, in gene keys, there are no types, right? So over time, they found some more similarities between certain things, and they attributed it to, oh, this is a defined sacral, or this is a motor to the throat, or this is a projected channel, right? That's why so many non-projectors who follow me, they're like, oh my God, Alex, you speak to me all the time. Maybe they're a manifester with no manifested channel, right? So a manifested channel is a channel that goes from a motor to a throat to the throat directly. There are manifestors where the motor makes it indirectly to the throat, so they feel a lot more like projectors, but technically, because there's the motor connection that makes it to the throat, there's still a manifestor. And so many other types have projected channels, which is every channel that isn't from the motor to a throat or a defined sacral channel. Everything else is a projected channel. How many people have that, right? So this whole waiting to be invited to speak your opinion, and that is a thing for so many people in a defined way per their chart. And also then again, extending it to, we all have all of the chart, right? And all the channels that we don't have defined, we're just meant to be wise about. So you have manifested channels to the throat like me, but they're not defined. So what does that mean? We have to be wise about it. What does being wise about something mean? It means not being pushy, not coming from self-interest, having people's best intentions at heart, having it come through a solid spiritual yes, So when spirit tells me to initiate something, which is a post or initiating my business or initiating this or that, when spirit tells me, and I'm sure that's being wise about it, then I can do it, right? So it's not you can't do it. And that's the whole thing why this whole teaching about this kind of stuff is wrong, in my opinion, right? It's so disempowering. And especially as women, we don't need more stuff that's disempowering us, because we are hard on ourselves so much of the day anyways, right? Can somebody bring us some empowering teachings? And that's also why I really like Karen Curry Parker's quantum human design interpretation of human design, right? Because she changed that language into something more empowering. So that's the one piece. And then in business, we have to initiate, right? If we're not the leader in our business, then who is? How can we have a business? So does that answer some of what you were talking about? This is kind of what
Yes,
come through right now.
yes, definitely. I feel like I'm so much at the beginning of this that I have more questions about that. And I actually had just signed up for her last night. What's her name? Karen Curry?
Karen Curry
Yeah.
Parker. Yeah.
Yeah, so that's really interesting. I'm trying to find someone to purchase my entire reading from, and she came up. So I definitely felt like that was divine, that was her, because of her language is so different than everyone else's, and it's empowering. So yeah, I'm sure I'll have more questions in the future, but right now it's just leaning into navigating that. That I do feel like an initiator, but I don't feel like it's from a place of just like thoughts. I definitely feel like I'm channeling, and like I know that I'm tapped into universal consciousness, and it's not just something that I came up with in my thoughts. It's actually, I actually feel like it's something that's, you know, has purpose and meaning. And so yeah, but we'll we'll have more questions soon.
Yeah,
Thank you.
there's always more questions. And
Mhm.
I just want to like add on to this a couple more things. First of all, my friend Annalena Fuchs gives amazing readings. She's also a Gene Keys person. She has trained to level 4 under Karen Curry Parker, and she's amazing. And she's on Instagram as well. So if you guys are looking for readings with an empowering view, I highly recommend her as well, just in case Karen doesn't give her own readings. I don't know. And then the other thing I want to add in also is astro, right? So initiating energy, yes, in human design, that's, you know, manifest or manifesting generator energy or manifested channels energy. And in astrology, that's Aries energy, right? So I am a projector through and through. I'm a tropical projector. I'm a cosmic projector. I don't have any motors in either one of these, no manifested channels, but in astrology, in my cosmic chart, which is my true, you know, connection to my star blueprint, Aries is my chart ruler, and my Mercury is in Aries. So I have strong Aries energy, which I've always felt. That's why I've always felt so resonant with manifestors. So I don't want you to ever discount the astro part of it either, right? And then just to mention really quick, and for those of you who are new to human design, this might be a big handful and maybe don't go there, but there's tropical human design, there's cosmic human design, right? Tropical is based on the Western tropical calculation from over 2000 years ago, which states more about how we operate well in the existing system. But as a projector, we're also meant to create a new world, right? What we just talked about. So what is your cosmic chart, which is where the stars actually were when you were born? CosmicHumanDesign.com. You need your UTC birth time, which usually is stated in your tropical chart. And in alignment with that, for example, in tropical Western astrology, I'm a Gemini sun. I've resonated with that a lot. And Venus was my chart ruler, and I was Libra rising. And now in my true sky, where the stars actually were born, like when I was born in Cologne, 1977, that is a different calculation. And I'm a Taurus sun and a Virgo rising. And my tropical astro and my tropical human design, they were always like, oh yeah, man, this really resonates. But I had to like work to wrap myself around some of the aspects. And my cosmic human design and my true sky or true sidereal astro, they're like, oh my God, who is in my subconscious? So if you're looking how am I actually activated? I am such a Taurus, you know? And it's just like, oh my God.
I'm really laughing so hard because we have very similar placements in my Western and my I call it Vedic, but the same thing, sidereal. So I'm mostly Cancer. I have 4 planets in Cancer in sidereal, which is Ashlesha Nakshatra, which is all about healing. Um and it resonated with me so much more, but I'm a Cancer sun, Taurus moon, and a Virgo rising in Vedic. So it's definitely more, I found out more that the all the fire and air in tropical, which was Leo, Gemini, and Libra, was not really, that was kind of the imbalance to me, like the fiery air energy. But my real essence is that like is the grounded and sensitive and like healing person. So I definitely I don't feel like I have a lot of initiating power, but I know what I want. And so I think that that's what I'm feeling, is that someone else helping me to kind of have that more initiating power so that I can focus on like the real, essence of what I'm doing with people. So we'll see how it works. But yeah, that's really interesting. I was definitely,
I love that. Thank you for
yeah,
sharing. I just want to
thank you.
I want to also say that there are so many calculations, right? And even Vedic or sidereal isn't the same as true sky or true sidereal, right? Because there's only one calculation that actually shows where the stars were when you were born or at this moment in time, right? It's proof they're there. If you have one of these apps on your phone and you're looking like, and they're saying, oh, full moon in Cancer, and you're like, that full moon is nowhere near Cancer, right? It's right in Aquarius. So it's like, that's where the stars are, right? And there's only one calculation for that, but then there's many others. So Vedic is also based on it's a little closer to true sky because the degree, but none of these corrections are incorrect, right? They're the energetic birth blueprint of a system that was born, which shows you how you operate in a certain frame, right? So for me, who doesn't like the status quo or boxes, for me, what's most activating and empowering is my true sky, my cosmic. So, but I still resonate with a lot from my tropical chart as well. So thank you for sharing this and bringing this up. And thank you for coming on. I hope this was
Thank you.
helpful.
Thank you.
Awesome. So let me see what's back in the chat. Lisa, it depends on, with the chart, it depends on what we're talking about. But oftentimes for, this wealth coaching, prosperity coaching, we don't really, at this level, we don't really need it as much. But if we do, then we can see. Be the invitation. Yes, that's exactly it. You become the invitation when you operate from these frames, right? I'm hearing initiate a lot here. I know we all have all of the chart, yet isn't initiating more of a manifestor strategy? Projectors flow more easily when we wait for recognition and invitation. I hope this clarified a little bit, Jen, what we were talking about. There are so many, different ways to initiate. And as long as it's from wisdom or from your Aries, and we all have Aries somewhere in the chart, right? Because we all have the wheel. It's just if there's no placements there, then also there's no specific, but there's an area of life, there's a house, that you have assigned to your Aries. So in that area of life, it's more natural for you to initiate, for example, right? So it's not just like, that's the whole thing about projectors aren't meant to initiate, right? We have to wait, like, like I've lived so many lives, I'm done with waiting, but yet again, also be wise about who you tell what, that make sure people are ready. But people can only find you and recognize you and invite you when you initiate and share. So it's a conundrum. So it's always the energy from which we do. Okay, so which is the different by human design chart or cosmic human design chart? You can just grab your cosmic human design chart. It's about, depending on when you were born, it's between 31.3 and 32.6 degrees off the current, the tropical calculation. And don't freak out if you're not a projector in that calculation. The strategy and the authority is really just about like how you operate and how you make decisions. But if you disregard that for a moment, in case you're not a projector anymore, because many of my private clients or mastermind clients ended up not being projectors anymore, but it didn't matter because there was an understanding that, in that frame, I am a projector, and also how can you help me here, right? So the type, like I said, it wasn't an original piece of human design. All right, so Christine also, are you still here, Christine? would you like to still come on? And I think Lisa
Yes, I'm here.
too. Lisa, did you
Hello.
raise, hold on a second, Christine, I just wanted to clarify. Lisa, if you'd also like to get coached, if that's what that meant, you can lower your hand and I'll just write you down. If you're still here, I'll write it down. So otherwise we will see how far we get and who's next. So now we have Christine.
Hello.
Hi there. Nice
Hi.
to meet you.
Nice to meet you too. Hello.
Hello.
I'm not so sure about my question, but I would like to come on anyway. You
Okay.
had said some very interesting things, and I can relate about a lot. I haven't spoken English for a while, so I think I'm very I'm very bad at it. But I'm 57 years old. I'm a 3/6 reactor, authorities, blending and split definition. So I feel very different when I'm at, right now I have been a school counselor for 7 years. And in this environment, I'm very, very different. So it's kind of hard for me to be there, but I want to be for all the crystal children and help them in that environment. But I like to start my own. I have been trying that for several years ago, but it didn't work. So in Sweden, it's a lot of steps to start your own business if you compare to, for example, England. So that's what always is difficult for me. And to wait, of course. So I did get my company started in the 90s, but I'm also have this with my own worth, how much I should take for the services and so on. So that's my big things in life. If you understand what I mean.
I do, and your English is excellent, by the way. It's often you
Oh, thank you.
Scandinavians, you think you're not good at English, and then you open your mouth and well, like, what's the problem here? I have so many.
I hear myself like I can't find words.
No,
But
it's,
I'm sorry, but I haven't spoken for many years.
well, I love
So
it. Thank you.
thank you. Thank you.
So if you had a magic wand, or if you could say, I want this to be the reality next month, irregardless of what makes logical sense regarding your business or your financial reality, what would that be?
To have freedom in life, and freedom for me is to work with my own, so I can keep my energy better, so I can go and have a nap when I like to, and I don't have to be drained outside my like in my big groups. I am in very big groups, and I'm like totally drained afterwards in my occupation. So that's what I most like.
Perfect.
And feel healthy, of course. The health and so on.
Working from home, be able to nap, not feel drained, and feel healthy.
Yeah.
Okay. Okay, so let me just say a couple of things, and then you can see what might be most resonant or helpful for you. Doing your own business, and from my point of view, when I started 6 years ago, like I said, when I started 6 years ago with my gut health coaching, I had no experience with gut health coaching yet, except in my family, right? So the first thing that I needed to build, and since I switched my business around a few times, every time I did that, I had to redo this, right? And that's why now I've done this projector thing for a long time. That's kind of why the success is coming here, because I've gotten really, really good at what I do, right? And so I know projectors inside out, and combined with that wealth creation stuff that I do, like that's my magic sauce. And then then you have to learn business skills on top of that, right? So first of all, you got to be, I mean, you don't have to be really good when you start a business, but it helps, because otherwise it just makes everything really, really hard. So if you wanted to start marketing something where you're not even sure how you're helping people, that is very, very tricky. How are you even going to talk about that? So picking something that you're amazing at, right? For
Yeah.
example, if you think about this as a massage therapist, if there's a massage therapist who gives the most amazing massages, or my mom had her 1-year death anniversary yesterday, so let's bring my mom in. My mom changed, she changed careers late in her 50s too. She was a corporate person selling big, like things. I'm not even going to go into it. And then she said, "Oh, I want to become a healthcare practitioner in some way or form. And in order to do that, I need to sustain myself financially. So what's fast in the meantime to learn, and what I actually have interest in, is medical pedicure. In Germany, that's a big thing, Fußpflege. It's not like about the toenails so much. It's more about taking like the things off and, fixing things. And so she did that, and she did it at a good price. She could have easily charged 10 euros more per session or something, but she did it at a really good price. I felt good for her and amazing to her clients. And she gave such amazing medical pedicures, even though she was new at it, but she was really, really good at it, fast and thorough and everything. Great results for her clients, that she filled up her business so fast through word of mouth, because she was so good at it. She didn't need to be in that business for years and years and years, because everyone's like, "Oh my God, Ingrid, did you have, like, you need a medical pedicure? Like, have you done one with Ingrid?" I was like, "No." "Okay, well, you got to go see her, and her prices are great." And so within like 6 months, her calendar was so packed, she actually had no more time for naps, So that's just
Wonderful.
when you are really, really good at something, right? Because then the word of mouth will help you. And also when you're in the internet online, then you know how to talk about your stuff, because you have that confidence, because like, "Oh my God, I'm getting people results. I'm getting people solutions to their problems." When you're newer at stuff and you don't quite know what that is yet, and you don't know quite like, how do I even talk about that? That's much, much harder to put the business skills on top of something, right? So that being said, how's that situation for you?
I can relate a lot, because I have like two sides, I have my spirituality and my channel, and can help through my channel, and I have my like I don't know what you call it in English, but I help children, and I have my education there. And so for me, it's always like, "Oh, do I want to be only an intuitive coach, or do I want to help the children?" Because I can't I can't help the children. I have to, in my opinion, to choose. And I don't want to choose. I want to help all of them. But if I go out like a spiritual person, then it seems like some parents wouldn't like that. So I never go out with that in the school or anything, or in my before business. So I'm a healer as well. So I have healing at home before, and I was an intuitive coach, but it was more like I gave messages. But my thing in life is that I know exactly what people should do. But for myself, I've searched all my life. Because I'm a 3-6, I understand that that's what my trial and error for many, many years. And I also is in Astro, I have like 5 or 6 retrograde planets. So I've struggled all my life to get to where I want to. But now I think I can do it, but I have to choose, and I don't want to choose. So that's my problem as well. I have a lot of blocks like this that stops me because I don't know which way I should go. Because
If
my
you, sorry,
my
go.
mission is the children as well. The children is my mission. I know that. That's I'm here to help them. But if I go like the other way in my business now, then I can't have both. But maybe that's just up here. I don't know.
So if you were just in your heart and you were just thinking about how can I help with my gifts the maximum amount of people, what would you do?
That's where I come in. I like I just think about it and then I go and start to find obstacles instead of
If you didn't
possibilities.
do that, and if you just focusing on how can I help the most amount of people with the gifts that I have, what would you do? So you just need to connect with your soul more.
Yeah. It is intuitive coaching, I think. And I also have healing, but through distance, not at home anymore, because that drained me too. So I couldn't, I couldn't. The people wouldn't leave, so they just stayed and want to get more and more and more advice and so on. So I had to take that away as well because I was so drained. So for each year I go more and more sensitive and more open, and I can't be outside in the environments because I get so drained. So that's
Okay,
huge.
so here's the thing about getting drained, and this is important for everyone with a lot of openness in their chart or very sensitive. Getting drained is the result of you trying to take something for yourself out of it. And this might be a harsh thing to hear, but if you're only coming from a giving place, you cannot get drained. You can get tired, you can get exhausted. By the end of the day, you might fall into bed and think like, oh my God, I'm so tired now. Like, that was a big day. But you cannot get drained because whenever you're getting drained, you're looking for something from other people that they can't give you. So that constant looking to get something is draining your own energy. And that can also be draining for the people around you. Yeah, it's not necessarily mean-spirited, right? But the agenda of, even if it's validation, you know, we want respect sometimes, we want validation, we want like, oh, do they see me as a capable person, right? All the things that we are trying to get from other people, sometimes through our job, sometimes through our, you know, our own online businesses, in our private relationships, that is what drains. And so when you shift that, when you master shifting that and come from a place where you come from a giving, soul-based place, then you can't get drained anymore. And then you'll have all the clarity. And then you will be of maximum help to the people that you are meant to help. And what we spoke about early on in the session, then you can download and reveal all the blessings that your life is meant to have, right? Because you're not looking to get things from other people anymore. People are not your source of anything. People are just other players in your game. They're just like, how do they call that in video games? I don't know. No, I forgot. They have an
Actors.
acronym, right? They're just in a movie. They're the people on the sidewalk, right?
Yeah.
You can only get what you need through your source and soul connection. And when you nurture that and operate from there, then you can't get drained anymore.
I think I'm not aligned, like I'm coming out of the alignment.
Well, out of
Yeah.
alignment with your own soul, right? Out of alignment
Yeah.
with spiritual connection. So it
Yeah.
could still, your work could still be with the children, but you know, one of the clues that you said there is like, if I showed up as truly who I am, some of the parents wouldn't like that anymore. So you're looking for something from that community of children and parents that is stopping you, that is holding you small, right? When you stop looking for that from those people, and it's always prioritization of things, right? Right now, you're giving what other people think of you more importance than your soul spiritual connection and your service to the world. So when you shift that,
Yeah.
everything shift.
Yeah, I think so too. Very true. Thank you.
So what can you, how can you nurture that soul and spiritual connection? Because as a channel and intuitive coach, you have your tools. I know you do.
Yeah, but I meant that before. I have to, like, for me, meditate twice a day. That's my then I'm centered and balanced. Like I know just where I'm going. When I don't, I get like split, like in thousands pieces, and that's what's happened now, I think.
Perfect. So you know what to do. You know what's
Yeah.
getting you centered and balanced. We want you centered and balanced because
Yeah, thank
you
you.
take the right decisions, right?
Yeah,
And it can be scary, and your inner blah blah opponent will always tell you, no, that's not a good idea, that's not safe, blah blah
yeah,
blah 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 blah. But you gotta trust this, where you get yourself, you know? You gotta trust.
yeah. Very good. Good to be reminded.
Yeah, and you already knew it. So
Back on track.
back on track. Here we go. Back to work. Excellent.
Yeah. Thank you very much.
Thank you, Christine, for being so vulnerable. I know this helps a lot of people. This is not just you who deals with that. It's all of us all day long, right? It's like we just need to hear it from other people sometimes, and then we'll, oh, okay, got it. Yeah, message received. Perfect. Thank you for coming on.
Thank you.
All right, let me see what's happening in the chat. Does that mean a private profile is a big no? I just started a business profile recently to be more seen, but don't feel comfortable showing the private one. That's a personal decision, you know. Maybe there's a space where you can just have a private profile where you don't want to share everything you do with the whole world. And maybe there's, you know, a piece or on a different platform. Some people or some friends of mine, they do all their work on LinkedIn, for example, right? And then on your Facebook, you can do what you want, you know, more private. It's a personal decision. Just make sure that if you want to get seen and recognized and invited for your gifts and your work, that you have a place where they can actually find you, right? So if you only have a private profile and nobody can find your work, maybe that's not as beneficial, right? So just something to think about. Paula says, wow, wait for the invitation has nothing to do with waiting. It's just an illusion. Yeah, time isn't real anyways, guys. What are we talking about? It's just an illusion, a translation from a motor person who actually needs to wait to be able to be wise. We just need to be in true contact with our beingness, be authentic and true to our energy. That's the invitation. Exactly. Well phrased. Thank you, Paula. That's wonderful. Thank you, Alexandra, for holding this space. It's absolutely beautiful. You're welcome. Magical. Seeking recognition instead of recognizing ourselves. That is always the thing, isn't it? With not just with projectors, but especially with projectors. Oh yeah, that's the word I was looking for, Lisa. NPC, non-player character, computer-generated part of the game. Exactly. Urkiz, I don't know, is that actually your name? I hope so. Thank you so much for this call. So much validation and great insights. We'll watch the remaining. Have a good weekend. Jamila, is it Jamila? Jamila? I don't know. I hope I'm saying this right. As I resonate a lot with what is shared. Thank you. How to balance these two qualities, forces that we need to make money to survive, to be able to pay for our bills and for what we want with a giving attitude of being of service. That is an excellent question. I just wanted to see real quick if Lisa, because she had her hand raised earlier. Lisa, did you actually wanted to come on? If yes, then you're welcome to unmute yourself, and then we'll keep Jamila if you wanted to come on with that one after, and then we might be full for the call. We'll see. Let's see. Lisa, do you want to come on?
Can you hear me?
Yes, we can.
Okay, excellent. So I'm using my phone so that it's a different interface on Zoom than the computer. So sorry about that. I'm a 2/4 emotional projector, and I have a 1/8 and a 1949 and the 3254. So I have a split definition. My question, and I'm learning a lot more about this whole invitation thing. I was so depleted that it took me years to get a true invitation, because I literally, my spirit, I think, really wanted me to rest, because I had burned the, proverbial candle on both ends for years and years. So I kind of crashed hard, and it just takes me longer to, and sun sign Capricorn and tropical. So it's just takes a long time. And I have a lot of Saturn in my chart too. It's like a long story. Anyway, my question today isn't so much about recognizing invitations, because I realize that spirit sometimes invites me to, like, for instance, inspires me with content, and then I'm energized. And so I know that that's a proper alignment when I'm making something. And then other times it'll be like, not today, because you need to rest. So there's that kind of invitation thing too. I think that sometimes we think that it has to be so literal or something. And so I just wanted to say something about that. I've also had incorrect invitations in the past, wherein they see my talent, but it's not in something that feels really aligned for me. Like, if I'm like, for instance, if I'm painting something because I have to just paint it. Oh, wow, you're a good painter. You should have a good painting business. Actually, no, this is exhausting. Are you kidding? Kind of thing like that. So I just wanted to tell you that I think I understand the whole invitation thing. My question for you today is about creating your business model as a projector. And I know that you wouldn't be able to answer specifically, but I was wondering what kind of alignment, like downloads, were you getting? For instance, when you have free content versus low cost content versus, higher end. What was like loaded down for you for guidance, like how to do that? And I mean, I know how to pendulum to get pricing and stuff like that, but I'm just wondering, like, where you do the middle part, like when people are starting to invest and starting to get to know you. And I know that you have like preloaded classes and stuff like that, but I'm just wondering how you manage your system there, and basically, like how your business model worked out. And because I learned from other people.
Perfect. That's a great question. Thank you for asking this. My business model has developed a lot over time, and I feel like it always continues to evolve a little bit. What I have done most is, in the beginning, when I was newer to business, I would do more single session things that would, for example, readings or a course or this or that. And but then, you know, over time, it's like you're caught in this cycle of always having to create something new, which is when you do that from an energy that is draining because you're looking for validation, then it's really, really hard to keep going. So the alignment behind everything is always, how can I come from a giving place so that and this sounds very simple, but it's actually not so easy, because our inner opponent is always like, oh, you know, and connected also to what was said in the chat, you know, how do you balance that with needing money, right? Because we all live in this physical world and need money for paying bills, you know, and feeding our children and our animal children, our own belly children. So but it's always like, first of all is the inner alignment, and then from there to grow the business into different things. And in tropical, I'm a 1-3, so it's a lot of study and trial and error, which I have done so much. And then in my cosmic, it's the 4-6, so it's the complete, like, 1 is completely me-centered, right, which was never so helpful for me because I already can have a big ego, you know, so anything. So but then the 4-6 in my cosmic is really where I'm feeling, this is where I arrive when I give to my community, you know? So it's a little bit knowing yourself, getting to know yourself, what brings you into that state of what also Christine was saying, I'm centered, I'm balanced, right? I feel really good to give from here. I don't feel like I'm going to get drained if I give from here. So whatever model you're creating, that's that, right? So it depends a lot, of course, on the business model. If you're a massage therapist, or like my mom was the medical foot person, you know, then it's very different, because or an astrologer, you know, maybe you're based in more of a single session model. And then what you want to grow more is perhaps your word of mouth or your referral business, right? For me, it just, you know, this whole thing of creating new courses, creating new programs, creating new offers is never a problem, because my conscious sun is the 24, and I'm basically an inventor. I'm inventing all day long. Like, that's why I was like, I have so many notebooks, I have so many ideas for courses. It's just like, okay, where do we actually fit this into the calendar, right? So for me, that's joyful. And then I still offer also like single sessions sometimes, but it has to be aligned. And then I also have people who want to work with me and like, oh, I recognize you, Alex, as the person who can help me grow my wealth, grow my business, you know, from the right place as who I am. So they will then invite me. So I'm not really like advertising my high ticket offers as much. It's more like people just come to me. I've tried advertising my high ticket stuff, but it's like, okay, people reach out, but it's not the right thing. So advertising my free stuff and advertising my mid-level stuff, that's where I get new people into my world. And then from there, some of them, oftentimes people stay with me for 2 or 3 programs. Some people stay with me for like a half-year mastermind or a 1 year. I have a couple of people, a very small container right now of projectors who are with me for a 1-year situation. So that all, like, over time, what I've learned more is just to say this, you know, when you're always launching, you'll have a promotion business, right? And that can be exhausting when you're approaching this from an energy of wanting validation or having anything that you're trying to get from other people out of it. So it works, but it works only from the right energy. But over time, what's also more relaxing to me is also I've added, for those of you who are familiar with Healy, I have part of my income is network marketing, right? And it's never something that I really saw myself doing or wanted to do. But I've built my downline, I think is over 30 people direct now, and then they have people under them. So over time it grows, you know, but everything I do, I have to also, with like 3 kids and like my toddler, I have pretty much 2 full days during the week. So, and then I have a new hobby, right? And at one point I will want to add a relationship, and also the 24 and my conscious son ask for a lot of me time, alone time to invent and to think and to do all these things. So, you know, you have to just always see like, where does this all fit in? And there's some months where I don't talk much about my network marketing business at all, but it's still there, right? But so over time, what I've learned to do is, because this other narrative about projectors and passive income, you know, and not working, I don't resonate with that. I mean, passive income, yes, but not working, no. Like my friend said to me the other day, and she's exhausted. It's like, I'm thinking, she's younger than me. I'm 47. She's, I think, 44. Like, have you thought about retiring? And I'm like, no. Like, I want to do this. I love doing this. What else would I be doing, right? It's like, I love this so much. I'm not thinking about retiring. I don't quite know where I was going with this, but just to say that, yes, I love working, right? And so I want to add more ongoing revenue or recurring income, which is what I also do with like my longer term containers, 6-month masterminds or 12-month support containers, or private mentorship over 4 or 6 months, or payment plans that go over 6 months, for example. If I know, for example, my January is always a little tight, then what can I already do now in August that ensures that I'll have income in January, right? So I make longer payment plans, which is also really lovely for people, because then they can afford, you know, my current offer, for example, the Projector Money Magnet, now is at full pricing, 1,500 something, you know, and it's worth every penny of it. But right now, if there is a lot of fear mentality in the people who want to join, it's easier for them to say, okay, I can do 300 something a month, right? Especially if we're then ramping up my money over time. And I will know, okay, then in January I have, you know, where all the bills are hitting, car insurance, whatever, you know, everyone wants everything in January. I'll have a little extra cushion then, you know? So it's also the strategic planning long term. It's like, okay, how can I, for example, I don't know what your business is, but what kind of memberships could you do? What kind of, like, gyms do that sometimes? They sell 10 passes or whatever, you know? So is this helpful? I've just been talking now, but I wanted to see first if this is helpful.
Yeah, it has been. I mean, I guess that everything is different. So I am an astrologer and a pendulum dowser that specializes in timing with the 1949, right? Venus and Saturn are conjunct in Aquarius, and I have a lot of Capricorn. So I tend to, and the thing is that I douse like nobody else. Like that's my, I guess, special sauce, right?
Yeah.
And dowsing for me, being a 2/4, dowsing for me is so natural. It isn't something that I have to study and investigate all the time. It's just totally like in my body, and it just happens. Where I had to study astrology and herbalism and all of the other things that I do, Reiki master, you know, all of those kinds of things. And all of those things are being really well represented and taught. And I mean, there's even a lot of good dowsing teachers, but there's a lot of people that don't do it like I do it. Okay. So I felt that my brand is kind of going in that direction. I've also had, like, with the recognition part, more attention from when I do dowsing things than when I do astrology things. Like, I've noticed this. Like, you know, sometimes you just have to take a clue from the universe and like go the way that the universe wants you to go, right?
Perfect.
So, yeah. So Yeah, having the long-term goal and systems and things that, like, when you front load the work and it regenerates later, and then the maintenance. And I guess that part of that is going to be also directed by spirit. I did start a Patreon a long time ago where people would pay and I would show up and do readings for people. And it didn't quite translate. People didn't hear like what it was. And part of it is that I was running around and doing a bunch of stuff. So I think my spirit guides were like, listen, you need to rest, you know. And by the way, the rest part here has gotten to be where I've let go of everything except a storage unit and a mailing address. And I've been floating around, okay, like for 4 years. Like, it's crazy. Like, I've let go of everything in order to heal and in order to do all of this. And I know that I'm supposed to be like, you know, coming back out of my cocoon, right? So it's one of those things. So thank you for like the overview of like kind of like what was coming in. And I would imagine that, again, the downloads from spirit also help you, like the inspiration and stuff like that. My guess is that that will happen to me too. But you had a framework of intention. And I like your intention of systemizing things and then flowing in between those systems that you're creating with a little bit of like what you're building and whatnot. And one of the larger, I guess, projects for me is to write a book about a couple of these things. So that would be kind of, in a way, a lot of front loading work as well.
Yes, exactly. And that's why it's so important to listen to creativity, right? Because creativity is regenerative. It's like when it flows through us, it heals us while we heal others, right? So that's always a big clue for business, what you want to do in business, right? And as you were talking also about the dowsing, right? Astrology might be something that's really helpful for you to have as a frame, and you can add it on, but maybe it's not your main message, right? And so people are like, I don't know anyone who does dowsing. My grandpa used to do it, and it's interesting because he was an army sergeant and a very strict businessman, but he was known, like, I don't know how you do it, but he did it with like wood. So like a certain shape of wood. I don't know, like apparently that was his thing. And he's like, no, there's water under this house. You can't buy it. Like, boom, boom, boom. It's like, I don't have that gift, you know, but so I don't know anyone who does that. So now I'm already.
I am not a water dowser per se, although I mean, I know some principles behind it, but water dowsing is a tricky thing. And not just because of water being so far under the ground, like you really have to intend to like not hit, like, for instance, like some people will douse and they hit shale or like some other kind of shiny, like, in other words, they're not tuned in. And one of my friends who is a water dowser, he always traveled with pennies in his pocket, and he would put a penny on the ground before he would douse in order to get an accurate reading. Like, I know it's crazy, right?
Yeah.
He also managed to make a land that didn't have water coming up. He made a medicine wheel, and like him and his friends prayed over it, and 6 months later, like they prayed over it every day, and 6 months later it made water came up out of it.
Wow.
Like, no drilling necessary. So no, this guy is really powerful. And so I don't do that kind. I do the pendulum kind, and it answers just about everything except drilling water. So I refer all my water work to him, and I do like practically everything else. And usually I use a pendulum, but I can use rods too. And I've done wood a couple of times before.
Well, and there you go. You have your gift, right? And that gift, and this is also where people often get confused. Your gift is supposed to come easy to you, right? But that doesn't mean that you're staying in your comfort zone, especially when you start talking about tikkun. You know, you already know that your growth lies in the discomfort and that you actually have to go there. So, yeah, I mean, I would just think about like, how can you frame this and maybe get the help with a coach as well? Like, how can you position this? How can you frame this? How can you message about this in a way that helps people understand that you can help them, you know, and then build your offers around how can this be sustainable for you? That's how I would go about this.
Excellent. Thank you so much for your time. And you're really a generous person, I can tell.
Oh, thank you. I'm glad this was helpful. Yes. And then, okay, let me see what the chat is doing. I feel friend zoned after getting invited a lot too. Yes, that happens. It's not what you give as much as where you give from. Exactly. Because you could still give and be a giving person and get exhausted if you don't do it from the right energy, right? We all know that's true. We just need to get ourselves back into alignment, back to center. Love this projector space. Thanks again, Alex. You're so welcome. Perfect. I see Jen raised her hand. I wanted to see though, because Jamila had such a great question in the chat, if she wanted to come on live, because I know that will help a lot of people as well. And then we can see Jen if we still have time, because I have to be somewhere shortly after 11. So we'll have to see how far we can go. Maybe miraculously your question will get answered now with Jamila as well. So we'll see what happens. Jamila, welcome. Come on, tell us what's going on. Can you rephrase your question for the camera, please?
Hello, dear ones. Thank you for having me. Can you hear me well?
Yes.
Nice, amazing. Ah, wow. This is such a rich call, and there's so much resonating with where I'm at right now as well. I really ask myself, and I ask into this space right now, how is it possible to balance the reality of needing money in this way we live life on planet Earth these days, needing money to pay our bills, to make our own living, and like really nurture an attitude of giving without expecting. And at the same time also like getting offers out there that are really created from your core, from the essence of your being, and simply like open energetically. The most powerful thing you've got to give, you're here to give. And in my experience, just from the last months or even years, I have been putting a lot out there, or I have been seen for things I'm skilled with, I'm good at, I'm talented at, I'm passionate about. But I also get a lot of rejections about, oh, we don't have the budget, the prices are too high, even if I feel like, wow, they're not even there where I want to be. So I feel what I observe is nothing is really working out. And at the same time, I know I'm amazingly talented. Like I've got so much to give, and I so much want to give. So there's basically nothing really stopping me from that genuine wish to give and to contribute and everything and all that, and also to channel my potential, my capacities into something very clear. But at the same time, I feel like it's not bridged, it's not taken in an appreciative way, or it's not like there's no balance yet. Like and maybe because I really have a need for money these days with a very empty bank account. So I cannot hide that fact. It's true for me right now. I really need to find solutions and to create a situation that can have both. Me like giving because I have to give and I want to give, and me also like demanding for an exchange. Yeah. to keep me surviving in that yeah, in that framework. And that feels very hard to answer these days. And there was another aspect coming in that I kept hearing from the others. Maybe it also has something to do with me not being totally clear what I'm passionate about, what I'm skilled in, what I'm here to give, and all these kind of things. Because once I start opening what I can do, what I can contribute, it's like 10 or 15 different things. But I'm actually like not like, this is my job, this is my passion, this is me privately or whatsoever. Maybe that's where things are too entangled.
Wow. I was going to say this is a very good question, but this is more like this is a very good package of questions. And I feel like thank you for asking all of this and bringing forth your heart and your vulnerability in this way. I think it's going to be very, very helpful because I know that that's been a challenge in my life ongoingly as well, right? I had to, some of you might not know this, I have spoken about this in some of my posts, but I guess I've run out of money a couple times, right? And it's scary. It's so scary when we know. And I feel like we have to get tested in this way somehow. And yeah, so I just want to thank you for asking this because there's a lot that I can say to this if you'd like me to, which I think is what you're here for, right? First of all, also want to ask, where are you based and how do I pronounce your name correctly?
At the moment, I'm based in Portugal, originally from Germany, and my name sounds like Jamila, very soft. Yeah.
Oh, I'm from Germany too. I didn't know.
Yeah.
Where are you from?
From the Allgäu.
Allgäu, how pretty. I haven't been there much. I'm from the area of Cologne.
Okay, yeah, very different.
So yeah, very different. Greetings to Portugal, which there's a lovely soft glow behind you, so that's why I have to ask. Okay, so I want to start with, and I just hope that all of this will help you reorganize inside because you have so many pieces of the puzzle already in place, but there are some, pieces of the puzzle that will make the flow complete. So I hope, because I had them all when you were talking, I just hope that they will come through in the way that they will help you. So first of all, the creator wants you and us to have everything. The creator wants us to be abundant, prosperous in financial areas as well. The creator wants us to have love and experience love in the way that feels good to our soul and to our human. So wherever we are experiencing lack in our lives, and doesn't matter which area of life that is, but in this regard, we're talking about money, right? Wherever we're experiencing lack in life, it's because there's a diminished spiritual connection. And that means we are not trusting in that area that the creator wants us to have everything. So for someone like you, where I'm hearing a lot of softness and sweetness in the way that you talk, I'm feeling maybe, and also the clue that you gave me, my prices are not where I want them to be yet. So, and you're still getting rejections, this is too expensive and kind of stuff. Like, it almost sounds like you are looking for for your self-worth to come in through those external forces of people paying you and having the money that you want. So, and looking for people to give that to you instead of your creation, your connection with the creator. So that was the first thing. First of all, how does that land, or how does that resonate?
in a way, actually, it kind of makes me go numb
Mm.
and sad.
Mm.
So I would say it resonates, and but I do not have like a clear reaction to it. It kind of gives me that feeling of helplessness.
Mm.
Yeah.
So that sounds like it's a very familiar feeling to you, which maybe then you've adjusted to giving a lot of you without getting back what you need for yourself. And making it and out of like a necessity in life to make that into a pattern of survival to get what you need, but you were looking to get it from other people, which were never equipped to give it to you. And so you give and you give and you give, and you're not getting back what you need. Whereas what you need to be trusting and looking for to get from is your connection with source and creator and your own soul. Has that been a pattern in your life?
Yes, and like in a way I can see myself trying to like I'm gifting a lot. Like I am a calligrapher. I do a lot of art and writing, and as a projector being, I observe people and get some messages and started to write these messages and gift it to the people. And that's a way to connect. That's a way to show what I am capable of. But that's also probably something where I'm in that need of, can you see me? Can you see that I have something to contribute, that I'm worthy of you seeing me or whatsoever? Like, it seems like it's, yeah, kind of entangled in a way where I love to give, but I'm also like giving maybe for a subconscious reason. And because I can not connect easily with people. And maybe also even not trust like what is true, what is for me, what is aligned. And when you talk about like being really in that soul alignment and being connected to the creator and listening within and really like being being guided on where we are meant to be or whom we're meant to meet, then I feel like that's actually what I'm doing and opening up a lot more in the last years. But there's also that question, how much more of that do I have to do until like it feels like any of these seeds will start to grow or to open up? Because I feel like I'm at the end of my capacities. And yeah, of course, maybe I can even trust more. I don't know. But at some point, I guess I need to see some changes to continue that way.
So the first thing to inquire in order to, it's really like you're in an open experiment, right? And you've been in an open experiment, and now at some point, and when we're looking to move on from like, oh, I've done this movie enough times, like how many more times, right? So the first question to ask there is, what is this here to teach me? Why is this in my movie? So why is this in your movie? What is it meant to teach you? Because when you learn from it and when you get the teaching and start moving in that direction, then you dissolve. It just crumbles away, you know? What is that?
it feels a little bit like I'm receiving a picture like me as a little girl sitting in my room and just enjoying the creation and the being creative no matter what, like me training my skills, using my skills, experimenting on them, and creating something beautiful without asking for permission and also without asking for validation. And then there's that part that kind of goes out of the room and wants to show it and is not being seen with it. But how to crack that? Because when I have something to offer to the world, and it can only be offered to the world when I show it and share it with the world, I don't want to keep these things for myself, but probably it's different layers that I need to keep for myself, the joy of the creation and also the worth or the value and the worthiness of the creation, and still like offer it in a way.
So how would it look if you offered it without needing to validation? What would be different? What would you do differently? Or how would you think differently?
Maybe it's a little bit when I compare it with a situation that I have right now. I could be very spontaneously tomorrow be part of an event, contributing my writings, but it hasn't been planned and it feels stressful, and it like, of course I could do it and there are amazing people in that event and where I would love to meet them, I would love to make connection. And at the same time, I feel like, oh shit, that's gonna be a leap right now to make that happen. And then I would be in the middle of that situation trying to make the best out of it. Or I could take the day tomorrow to create further on my website and put the things that I am able to create in a nice framework, how I want to see them, and just like offering it to the world that I cannot control who that will see. Tomorrow I kind of can, because there's people I think that they can resonate well with what I'm doing and what I'm sharing. And I would love to present it to them. And at the same time, maybe it's about me valuing what I'm capable of and presenting it in a way where I just let it go out into the world, and yeah, and to have people judging about it in their own way. And maybe the one wants to buy it and the other one says like, what is that actually for? Maybe that's kind of an image that also shows that, like how the energies flow or not flow.
Yeah,
does that make sense?
And one sounds like the comfort zone, and one sounds like the growth zone that makes you the person who creates more light in the world by putting herself into a vulnerable, humble, humiliating, potentially humiliating situation.
I would say it's very interesting, because when I hear you responding to me, then I feel like you are connecting these two situations the other way around. Then I would talk about them. That's very interesting.
I do, because I know the inner opponent and I know the energy of light and money. So I would actually poke you to go into your discomfort and do what doesn't feel natural and what's going to push you a little bit.
And that's the event you're talking about, right?
I am. Yes.
Because for me, in a way, it also doesn't feel natural to build a place for myself and build a framework like a website and fill it with my work so that I kind of build something that really holds my energy. So that's also, when I refer to that, I also feel like that's not my comfort zone, to really stand up and show myself and be worthy of, yes, of course I have a website where you can find my work.
And it doesn't mean that you don't go out and do that. It's just you can do that any day of the week, right? But you are using that as a time frame holder for not going through the more discomfort, you know. And in my intuition and how I feel, or how I felt your potential light coming through, it's the order of how you do things. You're going to reveal so much more light and courage and self-worth through that event, that then when you create your website from with that energy and light that you've created from that event, that feels like the order, the logical, you know, order for me to do things with. Because then you get them both, right? Otherwise, you only get one. And that's, from what you are saying, in the level of stuckness in the wheel that you are, that's kind of like the fire that your situation seems to need.
Because what's coming up now is, but I'm not ready yet. I'm not there yet. I'm not yet the one who wants to, who is ready to show up. I don't know what I'm gonna offer to them, because I cannot even say in 3 sentences who I am or what I'm offering. Like
Perfect.
these kind of things.
And exactly. And you become that by doing that, right?
And I'd rather tell myself,
you cannot become the person who you need to be by playing it through in your head. I recently heard a quote. I don't know who said it originally, but it was it Tony Robbins? I don't know. Somebody said, somebody big, you know, they said, somebody said to them, I want to do what you do. And then they said, you cannot do what I do until you did what I did. And so we have to move ourselves through. And that's why vulnerability is so important, because it gives us a space where we can become humble, where we have to face the fear of being judged and rejected, and maybe even go through humiliation and judgment and rejection in order to create that resilience, right? In order to create that energy in us where we are like, oh, I'm so capable. And from this energy, I create more. And we're revealing more light in the process. And it's when I talk about this recently a lot, people, like, our ladder of ascension is a ladder, right? And we're like, I want to be at rung number 5, but then we miss to go through the steps. And the steps are actually what reveal every step that we take with action from courage and from this right space of, I want to serve, and I'm going to put myself in a very uncomfortable situation to reveal more light, is actually what reveals more light. And light, what is light? It sheds light onto what's obscure right now, where we don't have clarity, where we don't have certainty, where we don't have the knowing of what's next. By actually going through the steps on the ladder, we reveal that for the next step on the ladder, that light, and then the light can accumulate and multiply, as opposed to if we just jumped. And sometimes that was what people want when they work with a coach is, oh, just get me to rung number 10, and I don't want to do all that stuff in between, right? And then maybe they have results for a month, and then they fall back down to rung number 1, because what was missing is actually they need to go through these steps to reveal more light inside of themselves that makes the rung number 10 something that they can maintain. So that would just be my sense for you from what I was feeling when you were speaking.
Mm. Mhm. Mhm. Thank you.
You're welcome. I hope this is so helpful for you. And from that place, the pockets will fill because you are entrusting yourself into the right hands, into your own hands that are guided by and supported by the Creator, who always wants you to stretch yourself and who wants to support you in all the ways.
How to now not get back into that loop of, but I'm not prepared. I do not have like real offers and good prices. And when I'm getting into all of these situations tomorrow, and I would love to offer and not get myself back into that, then I'm just gifting it instead of asking for like an exchange or something. Because yeah, I'm not like really getting there with, that's my product, but I'm there with my pen and paper and with my open heart and with my gift of observation, and be able to just like write for them.
Maybe make it donation based.
Yeah, make it easy.
Make it easy.
Mm-hmm.
You have, like you said, you have the skills, you can create solutions, you have capacities, like you have so much ready to go, and just come with that. Don't think you have to be anything more that you're not right now. Just come with exactly what you can give right now and who you are, and with the intention of giving from your heart and receiving. And because I would settle into the mantra and go and have that mantra with you, that it's actually joyful for the people who receive your art to give back to you. You give to them so that you can make it more easy to them to give to you. Something around those lines I would settle into for that event.
That's beautiful.
How do you feel about that?
Like more lighthearted, still a little bit scared,
Scared
but more
is
lighthearted. Yeah, so it's gonna be still a lot to prepare and to move now to make that all possible. But yeah, it opens something. Yeah.
I love it. And the Creator wants us to put maximum effort in. So, but that's fulfilling effort, you know? That's the work that fuels us. Perfect.
And this feels really, that's the last thing I want to say, that feels really important to me, what you said. Like, can you put that into a perspective that it's joyful for the other? Yeah, thank you.
You're so welcome. Thank you for bringing this up. I know this is so immensely helpful for so many because we're all working through similar things. We're all connected, right? So thank you for that, and for coming on, being so vulnerable. That's always where the gifts come from. So may your day tomorrow be blessed with magic and more prosperity than you can even imagine. And please report back in the group and let us know how it went. I'm going to take one more little look at the chat, and then I'm going to have to hop off, you guys, even though since this is my heart, I could do this forever. But if you want to do this more with me, consider joining in the Projector Money Magnet. We start on the 7th. If you're on my email list or in the Facebook group or in my Instagram, where you most likely found it, you maybe have heard of it already. If you want to really dive deeply into the energetics and the spirituality of money, because money is only 10% physical. And when we're concerning ourselves so much with what's money actually in the physical world and how can I pay my bills, we're only focusing on the 10%. And it's really, really hard with an undefined sacral, especially, to grow it when we're only focusing on that. And in that course, we're focusing a lot on the 90% and how to create it in the spiritual realm with the energetics, in line with your soul, in line with the creator. And I know that will sound like so woo-woo to so many people in the world, right? But projectors, we get it on a whole different level. So reach out to me if you need the info, if you want to know more. I have some incredible bonuses going on through next week as well, which is for the full pay, you get a 1 hour private call with me where we could do something very similar to what we did here today, just a lot more custom and deep to you. And for the payment plan, you get my free, well, you get for free as a bonus my my deconditioning course around all the money gates that I created a couple of years ago with my friend Annalena, who I mentioned on the call. So that is very complementary to this work as well. And Dina says, it feels like a chicken and egg situation always. Yes, but we will figure out who is the chicken and who is the egg so that we can always come from that space of what is actually the original driver behind all of this, right? So I'm so glad you guys were here. Sorry, Lisa had to go. I hope your question got answered. If not, there'll be always a next time. And I'm glad that that you guys were here with me today and coming on with your open heart, with your challenges and bringing them to this space so we could hold them together. And now I'm going to go do some jujitsu. I'm going to fight some people. I love you guys so much. I will post this call in the group, and I am sending you so many blessings, so much prosperity, so many well wishes for your abundance creation, because I know you want to do this for the right reasons. And like I said early on in this call, we need to change who's in charge of financial resources, right? So we can have people like Jamila with such a kind heart, or Christine, or whoever came on today and got to experience that we are in charge of this, right? But we have to do it from the right energy. And that's when we get more. That's when the creator trusts us to manage more of their energy, because money is creator's energy and we get to manage it. Thank you so much. This has been so helpful and powerful. Thank you for creating this space and sharing your gifts. You are so welcome. All right, my dears, I gotta go. I gotta run. I love you all. I'll see you soon, hopefully somewhere on the internet. Reach out to me if you need anything. Big hugs and kisses. See you soon. Thank you for being here.